He's never hit me doesn't mean he's not abusive. My husband, 20 Nin, and I, 29 F, have been together for 5 years. I was a single mom that just got out of an emotionally abusive relationship of 4 years when I first met my husband. He helped me in many ways and takes very good care of me and my son. He is the type of man that you think, wow, you'd be an idiot not to scoop him up. My husband is a wonderful human being. He is a real sweetheart, the type to stop the car and help an old person with their groceries / shovel their driveway. He's the type of man who cooks, cleans, spoils me and my son. He's affectionate and is the best stepdad to my son. He is great with his finances, doesn't drink or do drugs, no gambling. He's listens to me and always tries to communicate with me. I care for him deeply. He treats me the best I have ever been treated, except for 20% of the time. There is that 20% of the time where he is just awful. He is OCD, I think. Or maybe it's just his personality and there is no fixing him. Our house has to be a certain way, and if I don't do things his way, sometimes he snaps. He has angry outbursts that terrify me. Has threatened to kick the shit out of our tiny doggies. He's punched holes in our doors. But he has put his middle finger up to my nose and screamed in my face while I'm quiet and crying. But when he's yelling, he swears at me, has called me a psychopath, called me immature or a child. In arguments, he says, fuck you, go fuck yourself. He makes me feel like an idiot or like he is inferior and patronizes me. I notice if you tried to bring up one of his faults, he takes great offense. In the beginning of our relationship, I would point out every time he did something that bothered me. Over the years, I just ran out of energy to do that sometimes. I got used to it. When he is getting upset, I freeze and go quiet. Sometimes. I'm not a fighter or a yeller. Sometimes I even remove myself and go hide in the bathroom. I like to talk when we are calmed down, and sometimes when we are both calm, we have the best conversations and it feels great, but there is the times where he wants to communicate when he is upset, and I don't do well with that. When I hid in the bathroom this one time, he punched the door and told me to come out of the bathroom or he was going to kick the door down. When I try to talk to him and say these behaviors are unacceptable, he gaslights and says that things weren't what they seemed, that I need to cut him some slack, that I have no idea what it's like to be in his brain, living with anxiety and OCD. He will bring up his childhood and how he grew up and sort of blames his childhood on his behavior. I'm not even sure if he truly has OCD. He's never been diagnosed. He just always needs to be in control of things. Any little thing can set him off. Everything has to be put away perfectly. The house must not look lived in. If I use a blanket on the couch, it needs to be folded and put back. If I shower, I need to close the shower curtain. One time he left a tiny leaf on the kitchen floor to see if I was going to pick it up. He said it's been there for a week and I didn't pick it up. But he crosses a line and enters into insanity. It's not normal. And I keep a mental checklist of all the things that set him off. I can't decorate without him. Can't have my mom or anyone come over when he's not home without letting him know first. I brought home a tiny box of my childhood stuffed animals from my mom's house. I was scared to do that, but I did anyway. And he found it and threw a fit and asked why I needed those. I keep all of my personal belongings in my closet, and he is upset that I have so much stuff. I don't have much. Not big on clothes or lots of shoes. I'm simple. He wants me to go through my clothes and my shoes and binge because I have too much. He doesn't like my arts and crafts because it's too cluttered. It's not. He organized it all into a closet. I made 2 beautiful paintings for my baby boy that I wanted to hang up on his bedroom wall, and my husband didn't like that because it didn't match the theme of his room. We compromised, and now they are hanging behind his door hidden. I one day decided to put shelves for books up on my son's wall and was very proud of it. My husband was so upset that I did it without him, and it looks terrible to him. So we have tried multiple couples therapists and one-on-one therapists. I have recommended that he needs to go on a medication for whatever the heck is wrong with him, and he rejected that idea multiple times throughout the years, very against it. He didn't like the couples therapist because they focused on helping him to fix his issues, gave him homework to work on himself. He was upset that he was made out to be the monster. He wants me to see that I am part of the problem too, because I cannot move past the past, and I am a bad communicator. Because when he does something that upsets me, I go quiet until him or I have calmed down to address it. He says I need to tell him in the moment. He gets very upset if I don't choose to fight with him, but whenever I do tell him right in the moment, he says that I never give him a break. He explains why he acted the way he acted instead of apologizing and understanding why it upset me. He has an amazing way of making me feel bad for him and making me forgive him. When I recall an incident, he twists it and says that it never happened. I daydream about living alone, how happy I would feel to be by myself. Last night we had a 3-hour-long conversation where I brought up how I am done. I want to live alone. I want my space. I am numb. Things aren't getting better. I am resentful. I don't even like him anymore. I care about him and I do feel bad that he has mental health issues. I feel badly, but I need to finally think about how I feel. I need to finally listen to my gut screaming at me. I need to finally listen to the nausea that surfaces when he asks for a hug or a kiss. I need to take my blinders off and address the horrible thoughts that I have had for so long. I have hatred towards him. I ignored it all because it's just easier to be with him. It's just easier because we are married now. My son loves him. My son deserves a stable home. I would do anything for my son, which is why I stayed for so long. My husband is my son's favorite human. His precious little heart would be crushed to lose my husband. After our conversation last night, my husband didn't get mad. He cried. He promised he would change and get on medication and try therapy again. He said he would move out and asked if I could please give him time to do so. He said that he would leave in the evenings after work and go to the gym or hang out with his grandma/or friends. Or if I wanted to leave in the evenings, that I could go to a friend's house or my mom's. He just asked if I could give him a chance after him being on medication for 3 months and see if he's changed. I feel bad for him. I shouldn't have let things go on for so long, but I feel like things are never easy. This was a learning experience. I learned that this is not what I want. Maybe he doesn't hit me, but this is still a form of abuse. And I never knew that. I thought this was normal. I thought that all of this bad stuff was normal bumps in the road in marriage, and you stick through it and it will be worth it in the end. My husband is taking it very well. I was trying to prepare myself for the worst. Maybe he would snap, maybe his evil side would come out, maybe he would hurt me or hurt my son, maybe burn the house down. But no, we are working from home together and being civil. It is strange. I think he has hope that eventually we will be okay again. I did tell him I was done, like I want to be single and live alone. He was on the phone with a psychiatrist this morning to get on meds finally. He's cried a lot and tried to definitely tell me everything he thinks I want to hear, but he hasn't been mean. He hasn't been unhinged like I thought. I'm hopeful we can just be civil or maybe friends, and he can still be a part of my son's life. I have had so much patience with him. I have put up with things I never should have. And I am finally choosing peace. I am choosing to listen to my gut after years of ignoring myself. I'm posting here because I am looking for support. Anyone who resonates with me, anyone that maybe just wants to chat about life, has words of wisdom for me, or maybe anyone who thinks I'm making a great decision or even a mistake. I appreciate you reading my post. Story 2. I feel like I'm slowly losing my own personality. I don't really know how to word any of what I'm trying to get across, but I'm going to try my best to. I've slowly noticed that I'm almost forgetting my own personality. I barely have opinions on things. I sometimes can't tell if I enjoyed a show or movie after watching it. I'm becoming more and more impressionable to the point where temporarily I'll just believe whatever is on the TikTok I'm watching, for example. I don't find much funny anymore. And in turn, I've lost my sense of humor. It's like I've forgotten how to hold up a decent conversation with people, even close friends. Like my mind just goes completely blank and I have nothing to say. I used to be extremely outgoing and extroverted, could talk to anyone about anything for hours. I used to have a great sense of humor. I used to be able to have fun doing anything, and used to be very intelligent and logically thought driven. All of that has seemed to fade and vanish over time. My memory is getting worse and worse. It was never great to begin with, to the point where I could watch a movie and maybe four key plot points will have been remembered. I've got no idea if anything is related, but life just seems boring now. When I want to find something to watch, I just scroll forever with literally nothing catching my eye. I'm usually really good at just dealing with my shit, but I'm starting to lose friendships and myself over how distant and weird I've been being. I've noticed anxiety developing when I've never had it before, and I sometimes go out of my way just to avoid talking to people. It's like I lost motivation to do literally everything. Getting up to do basic normal shit like making food, brushing my teeth, or showering is like a battle. Not bad enough to prevent me from doing those things as of yet, but I'm worried about if things do get worse. I've not been happy for a while now, but I've not been particularly sad. I'm just kind of existing. And while I'm on the point, I don't really get excited about much anymore. And when I do, it just kind of goes away quickly. I don't know if any of that means anything, but if anyone knows anything about why this might be happening and what I can do to prevent it. Story 3. Is it best for me, 29 to not talk mental health? So, on the surface, it looks like a stupid question, but I was wondering what other men think. I was in a situationship with a girl, and she told me she wanted healthy communication. She had some stuff going on with her parents and was venting to me, which I was fine with. However, I've been extremely busy with work and had some money troubles, and I just kind of ran out of steam mentally. It caught up to me very quickly. I did forget to look after myself mentally. I first told the girl that I was stressed about the money situation, but I didn't want to talk about it ATM. She then told me I was pushing her away. I told her a day later, after some time to myself. A few days later, I opened up about my mental health, and I did say that whilst I have been supporting her, I have become super drained because of work, money, and supporting her. I told her it wasn't her fault on the last reason but mine for not taking the time to mentally look after myself. I can't stress how much I made it clear that it's not her fault, just how I'm feeling. I then got a negative reaction from her. She said she felt awkward, which made me awkward slash anxious and something of a panic attack. It did kind of go 0 100. She went missing when this happened. I tried to apologize, but to no avail. To cut it short, it's now ended between us. Guys, have any? You been in this situation where you've opened up about mental health to your woman? What was the response, and did it backfire spectacularly, like it did for me? I'm asking because I'm just afraid that if I ever do open up, a woman will just run away now. Do I learn the hard way now and just learn to like eating plate full of shit? Story 4. Guy at work keeps saying I look tired. So I, 27 FYSE, F work as a PM in an office job with different departments. This guy, M33 or 33IK, works in a different department, but we're on the same floor, so sometimes we talk. I had lunch with him and another coworker a couple of times and thought we were friendly, like work friends, BC. We started all talking about our dating lives, slash, etc. I'll just say, Hez extreme Emiliupi toxic when he talks about his dating experience. I'm always like, yeah, you're definitely the problem. He'd say stuff like, if a guy is paying for everything, he's allowed to cheat on you. Or, I take girls to McDonald's for the first date. Stupid shit like that, lol. I don't fight him on it, BC. Hello. It's a work friendship and IDC if you die alone. But I would say, like, yeah, I don't believe in that at all, anyways. I stopped having lunch with him, lol. So, anyways, one time he comes up to me and midway he stops me and goes, "Did you get any sleep?" And I was like, "Huh? Yeah?" And he was like, "You look really tired." I was like, "Oh, maybe I am. IDK. I am tired. I didn't think I looked it." And he responds saying, "Oh, was that rude of me?" And I was like, "Yeah, kind of, lol." But I kept the conversation pushing and just brushed it off. Yesterday, I bump into him in the hall and he gets this dumbass look on his face and he's like, "Are you tired?" And I snapped and was like, "No, but you look tired." And he was like, "Whoa, sorry." I brushed it off again and kept the conversation short and moved on. I also know I don't look tired because my makeup looked good today, lol. Anyway, should I say something to him or let it go? I feel like I was too nice, but IK. If I'm overreacting. Story 5. Anyone else struggle with laziness despite the fact their life is in a better place than before? So, I didn't move out of my parents' place until my mid 20s. I was raised in a fundy environment and was a part of a high control group that shuns you when you leave the fold. Virtue. From the age of 18, I was pretty unhappy with what my future looked like. The men in this group absolutely sucked, and the thought of getting married to one of them made me want to wither away. Throw in the fact that my best friend in the group died from a rare and aggressive cancer. It was a bit of a rough start to adulthood, and I felt pretty lonely and misunderstood. There's also so many times someone can say, "It's all by grand design," before you want to sock them in the teeth. But faced with this gloomy outlook, I was proactive about it. I started attending yoga classes regularly. My mom was horrified, and as a result, was in very good shape for years. And it was so good for my mental health. I was constantly thinking of ways to extend and stretch my health benefits at work and max them out every year, as well as my wellness subsidy. Home life could feel really suffocating. And once I realized what a mistake it was to listen to my parents about not going to college, I was really creative about how to get out of the house and make friends. I also started a side hustle that meant I was spending a lot of time in nature, and my work became really popular online for a while. It felt like I was working two full-time jobs from 201-42018. I moved out in 2019 and my parents were fully against this transition as women don't do that. So I had no support when moving into my apartment. My relationship with my parents and siblings was dying. And not from a lack of trying on my end, they just kind of assumed these relationships magically maintain themselves, and my parents believed I was going down this. I was budgeting like mad to make sure I kept my head above water, and also slowly ghosting the church, because it was a part of the reason I felt trapped and miserable. I was online dating and trying my best to create new community for myself. Despite the fact I was living paycheck to paycheck, I found ways to enjoy life and thrive. I spent many, many days in the summer having solo picnics in the park and reading books. My leisure spending was a Netflix subscription on rainy days, taking long walks, window shopping, or going to the gym. On weekends, I rarely used my car because it meant I'd have to pay for gas sooner. I walked everywhere and bought the cheapest groceries and found ways to cook nice meals for myself with instant noodles. I don't think I bought things like red meat or cheese for 2 years. I remember the flight to go to my brother's wedding nearly ruined me financially. I attended therapy for the first time, which my mom told me was a sign I had something wrong with my soul. This crushed me, but I continued on and can say in hindsight that this particular psychologist saved my life. During COVID, I met my fiance, and after 2 years, we moved in together. As a result of dating a non-believer, my parents shunned me. Then the group officially excommunicated me, and I guess I was finally free. It was incredibly depressing to be treated that way by my parents, who I still loved. But I had seen this situation unfold with other people, and I knew this was the outcome. They weren't bad people per se, just incredibly misguided and somewhat damaged by their own parents. I could see it hurt them considerably to shun me. But they also were not open to having an adult discussion with me. My fiance and I have been on a few epic trips together, bought a home, got engaged, and now we are planning a wedding. One major stressor this year was that my dad had a health event that has resulted in him needing round the clock care. I've been allowed to help my mom with this and am included in decision making in group chats now. But emotionally, that's been a weird one to deal with. That aside, when I reflect on my life, I'm in a much better place. I can buy cheese, for example, lol, but I have all these new available resources, including time, and my fiance's family feels like my family now. Yet that proactive element in me has almost died out. Now I can book the classes I've always wanted to take. Now I can afford a bike. Now I can attend the ballet at Christmas. Now I can actually spend meaningful time with my friends, go hiking every weekend, and dedicate time to being creative again, and set up another side business. I can read. I, but instead I laze around and sleep and tune out with Netflix. But it's almost like I needed the desperation, instability, and panic in order to drive me forward. And I feel a bit stuck now on how to actually get shit done in my life again like a normal person. Story 6, telling a woman her husband is cheating on her with me. This is a controversial take, so I'm going to start by giving the full context of this situation. To be clear, everything happened online. I found this guy when I was going through Reddit, and I thought he was really cute, so I decided to send him a message expressing my interest. My main account is not anonymous at all, and I post about myself and post selfies often, so he showed quite some interest in return. We started talking about our interests, and we had a really good connection. When I was doing back through his pics, I noticed a wedding ring and asked him about it. He was honest and said he is married, but he also said that it shouldn't be a big deal since we're just texting. I was really into this guy, so we decided to continue chatting. I didn't know anything about his real life besides his first name and what he looked like, so I decided not to try and dig deeper. He kept saying how his wife wasn't good enough for him anymore. We kept talking for a while and started exchanging pics and stuff you can already imagine. Main topic was about how much better I was than her, and so on. We also talked about a lot of other stuff which made us really build a bond. I know what I was getting myself into, but so did he. He really kept his life private, but had a slip up. I don't even think he'd know that I'd be able to find his personal accounts, which included his last name. I decided to look more into him just out of curiosity, and I stumbled across his wife. They don't have any kids, but they've been together for about 10 years, from what I could see. Lately, he's been ghosting me. I would have been okay with this if he had decided to not continue with this relationship, but had at least told me about it. I feel really attached to him now, so this has been affecting me a lot. I haven't heard from him in a while, but I still see him around his wife in social media. But he's always been the hit twice now. But would I be the asshole? He's told me I'm not the first girl he has cheated on her with, and the previous one was an actual relationship he had in person. I feel awful for getting myself involved with him, and I feel she has the right to know. I don't know what her reaction might be, but she seems really in love. All he's done is talk shit about her, so I don't think it's fair to let him keep getting away with this. EDK, how to approach this situation, but I think I will just go straight to the point and show her proof. LMK, what y'all think?